Good afternoon, people. Welcome to Advanced HD, Season 8, Episode 2. Hope everyone's doing well. Right, my anxiety, that's kicked in again, so I thought we'll just jump on. We'll get some of these notes done. I've been thinking too much about doing all these episodes. I had them all planned out in my mind. But then I've just got myself all discombobulated again. So I thought what we'll do to ease the pressure a bit, we'll go through, calm down, Jacob. It's okay, it's just us here. We'll calm down and we'll go through the notes that's on the phone, because if we go back to Grandiosity Bipolar Week and then work our way, and then at least I can have it chronologically, and then we work our way over the Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year period and get up to where we are. The only excuse I have is an ADHD channel, and I don't have very good working memory. But if you try and tell me that you said something you didn't in 1997 on a Tuesday at 3:17 p.m, I will be able to tell you it's not. Can't tell you what I had for my tea yesterday or what I did last Tuesday, but I will remember that. On the 6th of December, I was thinking about, is this medication making me too soft and too sensitive? Is it making me tiz and go too much? Is it making me a bit more uptight? Is it making me too fixated and focused on things being correct, that I'm missing like more social cues and, you know, interpretation of humour and, you know, bits of banter and things like that. But I also believe, you know, a lot of it's, I think, you know, we got told these basics as a kid about having a proper diet. You know, we didn't really take much notice, did we? Well, I didn't either. And sometimes I do wonder, you know, this rise in ADHD that, you know, people keep talking about and highlighting. Is it not just the fact, you know, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, we've just had that many Bernard Matthews turkey dinosaurs and Finder's crispy pancakes amongst loads of Haribo and ice cream that were just full of GMO and bad plastic stuff that's bad for us so much that it's just killed our brains off, and they're now defunct and don't work in a correct way because we haven't had the true vitamins and minerals we're meant to get through eating food. Could that not be the case? Johnny Rockefeller. Anyway, kind of done that. However, you know what ADHD is like? I had this idea, right? And it can't just stay as a little idea, can it? No, it has to grow and build and expand and become something you can't really manage, because that is what I do best with mine anyway. But it has grown into something, so how can I can't say it that way. I kind of, I've done something, right? Just remember that. And I've done it for a good reason. You know, when you first hear about it, you might not agree. But I've done it to prove a point. Now, I know I said in the other day, the video I did the other day, you know, I've got nothing to prove to the world or myself. I haven't. We'll call this, it's an experiment. It's based off some information I've come across and experienced myself in the past. And, you know, I've learned a lot this year about certain things I'm not going to mention because it'll give it away. And, you know, obviously, if I've got sponsors at this point, you know, I do have to act in a responsible manner. But I think there's a gap in, you know, pharmacology. I think there's a gap, you know, in the neuroscience and the delving into certain things, because certain things aren't allowed to be studied in that way because of certain laws that were passed in the 30s and 40s and 50s, maybe a bit earlier, maybe a bit later, but that kind of era. But there's something, I've had this information for a while, right, and I've refreshed it more than a few times, and I keep getting the same answers. And I was talking about my dad about this the other week, and a friend a couple of months ago, and it got me thinking, my mind spinning again. And I thought, as it's coming to the end of the year, an ADHD med's quite expensive, especially at Christmas. I wanted to do an experiment. But we'll leave that for now, okay? Just remember that. As always, as a disclaimer, don't copy, emulate, or take any notice of me. Remember, I'm just mental, and, you know, and as far as, you know, the doctors and the NHS and, you know, our government and, you know, Google and, you know, the general world we live in, everything's correct. Everything's for your best intentions. If there was extra help out there for you, you'd already have it, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? So, you know, don't take any notice of me. Don't emulate me. I'm just some dude on the internet trying to find things out and explain things. I'm not a doctor. I'm not nothing. Right, anyway. So, bipolar fluctuation. Yeah, so I did want to just, I've wrote this in my phone because I just thought I'd mention this. Because, some people might watch this and think, I mean, I don't know. Some people might think I'm mental. Some people might think I'm stable. Some people might think I'm intelligent, makes sense. Other people just think I'm a conspiracy, dumbass waffler. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I did want to mention, just for those of you who are watching that maybe, have been along for the ride for all this time, and for people out there that might actually care about the channel or my existence or whatever, just in case, at any point you are worried or you think, I know I have gone up and kind of down with the bipolar and that the stimulant medication might be affecting me in that manner. Oh, I've missed... Don't you just hate when you have a shower and you've cut your nails and you missed one? What a knob. So just for the people that might be concerned or, I don't know, just concern, I guess, really. So I've just wrote here, with my bipolar, believe it or not, I'm being a psychiatrist or a doctor watching this might not agree, but my bipolar has actually been the best it's ever been this year. Now, don't get me wrong, there has been some points, through navigating with these stimulant medications, trying different ones and different doses where, it has fluctuated my bipolar that way a bit or, made it go down that way a bit. I've had to find my little even keel with it and, kind of, acclimate to the titration and stabilization period, probably a bit differently to most people with ADHD. I mean, don't get me wrong, other people with ADHD might have had exactly the same problems. I just don't know that. But obviously, I'm just going off the information that we've got in relation to how they affect bipolar and autism and things like that. But I did want to just say, for anyone that might remotely care, these fluctuations I get with my bipolar happen anyway. I actually think I have said this on here, but I'm going to reiterate it again anyway. Whether I take SSRI medication, which is really bad for my bipolar, whether I don't take them, whether I take SNRI medication or I don't take them, whether I take antipsychotics like Seroquel, quetiapine, whether I don't take them, whether I take drugs like, I can't say that kind of Pepsi, whatever, or I don't take them, and whether I take stimulant ADHD medication prescribed by an ADHD clinic or don't take them, my bipolar is always like this. There's been times in my life where I've managed to lead a really good life and I've ate well, and I've had some corrective medication or I've been on the right strain of something, and I've been on a lot of CBD, I've done a lot of exercise, been doing martial arts, just certain points in my life, my spirituality, my physical movement, what I consume, what I'm doing, or I've been on holiday or something good's happened, and there's been glimpses of a good 3 to 6, maybe even once or twice a good 12-month window where I've been a sound guy and everything's just been as it should be. But it is very rare for me. At them times in my life, it's took a lot of work for me to get there. And, and I think at them points in my life, I was just lucky that I had staff at them points. And, I'd build things up to a certain point where they were kind of just running themselves. And it gave me that freedom and that navigation to do and put that extra effort in with things. I get quite overwhelmed having all this stuff to do by myself, and that's why things end up getting dropped or not being stuck to or whatever, but that's the whole point of the new year coming up, is to build up that consistency and use what we've learned over this year to try and combat that a bit more effectively. But I just wanted to say, in regards to whether I'm on meds or not, whether I'm on drugs or not, whether I'm sober or not, whether I'm getting medical attention or not, whether I've got a psychiatrist or not, whether I've got intervention or not, whether I've got support or not, my bipolar always fluctuates. It's just something I've had to learn to accept. It's something I've had to learn to live with. And it's something I've had to learn how to deeply manage. Now, the best medicine, believe it or not, I've ever found for bipolar is spirituality, hands down. When I was looking at it before, sometimes they make remarks on like on mental health disorders. Like it said, the one that always comes up with autism is they tend to be very empathetic people. The one that always seems to come up with bipolar is they tend to be very spiritual people. With ADHD, it always seems to be something like intelligence or pattern recognition, or being able to get really good at a certain skill. I mean, obviously, it's not a one size fits all; it doesn't apply to everyone. But I just find it quite interesting, finding that out. The best medicine for bipolar is spirituality, I would say that above and beyond anything. I would also say in regards to the medication that titration does seem to get quicker each time that I do it. So, you know, when we had that 5 weeks off, I thought I would have had to basically start titration again from day one, but it didn't happen that way. You know, the first time we took this medication, it took like 10 to 14 days to kind of settle out in our system, but we weren't still fully, you know, acclimated to it. But I would say even after that 5 week gap, I feel like, you know, once I've been on it 5 days, it was just like being back into that titration period where I've been on it a month again. So that the window seems to close down, but the gaps don't seem to make that much of a big difference. One thing I found quite weird. Why is it every time I sit down to conquer the list of endless to-dos, all I can think of is the other 7 that wasn't done yesterday, not done today, bounce from task to task, from whim to whim, from urgency to urgency. Now sat here, 5 things started, 7 things not started, nothing finished, no progress made. Then paralysis, overwhelm kick in. Now I'm counting down the hours and trying to divide everything I have to do by minutes and hours. Then you can't find this, you can't remember your password for this. Do I even own one of these? Do I need to buy one? Is it in the cupboard? I can't look because I'll end up obsessing about finding it for the last 3 hours. Offsetting the timeline of maths is already calculated for that day. That's how my brain works a lot of the time. So frustrating. As you probably learned by now, I'm one of these people that knows a lot of things but doesn't always action them or execute them or take too much notice. So I will just repeat for anyone out there that's like me. Listen today, listen. Things we already know. Don't drink 5 cups of caffeine coffee when taking these tablets, because the results make you an idiot, a jitterbug, dehydrated, you can't think, and it has the exact opposite effect of why you wanted the coffee in the first place. So don't. Networking for customers, boxers, fitness, recovery, and you're not doing it. That's why your business is failing. Wake up, idiot. For the new year, right, we all need to stop. Stop hating, stop fighting, stop arguing, stop with the dramatics, stop with the over-embellishment, stop with the warped thoughts, stop with twisting things to fit a narrative. We all just need to start being a bit more true, authentic, honest, vulnerable with who we actually are. We all just do it together. Eventually we'll find the cohesion with each other. It'll be a bit hard to start with. Just like these medications, just like this journey, just like mental health and most other things in life, you've got to find your way of communicating and navigating your way through it. But we need to pack all this in. You know, watching all this stuff and, coming onto social media and all these different platforms and learn all this stuff, again, I've said it on here before, I think, people, no one watches you more than someone that hates you. Like, I do not watch anybody I hate. One, I don't hate anybody anyway. I truly don't, I'm a bit angry sometimes, I get a bit triggered sometimes like most people, but I don't hate anybody because I just find it moronic. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've fell out with people in the past before, people fell out with me, people probably fell out with you, you probably fell out with people as well. But this is where we kind of con ourselves when we hate someone, don't we? Because why would you keep your attention or your mind fixated on someone or something you do not like? You're giving it presence, you're giving it energy, you're giving it observation. As we all know, atoms behave differently when they're being watched, just like most humans. So stop paying your attention, stop choosing what you don't prefer. I know we've been over this before, but I am saying it again. Stop choosing what you don't prefer. If you hate someone, there's 2 ways that go. If you genuinely hate someone, the best advice I could give you is let it go. No reply is the best reply. No communication is the best communication. No paying attention is the best way to move forward with that. Because the only person it affects when you hate somebody or loathe somebody or detest somebody, it just affects you. The other person can't hear it or feel it. You probably live 7 miles away, 20 miles away, 100 miles away. They don't know. But you're keeping that person in your mind. So let it go. The only other reason we hate someone is because, I don't know, what would be the best example? It's because someone's hurt you. You're pissed off, you're upset, you're angry about it. But the more you just sit by yourself and hate them, again, it's just affecting you. So either grow up and go and talk to them and sort it out. If it's something that can't be sorted, and just pull up your big boy or big girl socks, and just like the latter, you just need to move on. I know it sounds harsh, I know it sounds cold, but underneath all the dressing up and sugarcoating, and how far deep or long you want to go into that, you will find that is still just the answer. Okay, and I mean that with love, I really do, but that is the answer. It's a new year. Choose what you prefer and do right by yourself.